like resources or websites to go to for stuff like making armor or props, or just resources on that?
Looking for resources for making armor and props, etc.
Yeah, hands down, YouTube. YouTube is just an amazing resource. There's just not anything better. There are a number of sites out there that have tutorials about various things, but I've just never found one that was as reliable as just searching on YouTube. There's all kinds of armor making tutorials. My personal specialty is woodworking and leatherworking, and I learned some of it in person from some people who were local to me. But anytime I don't know how to do anything, I just go on YouTube and search, blah blah blah, how to whatever, and I just will find a tutorial. Usually, what I'll do is I'll watch a couple of them. Because, with the quality of any one tutorial, you never really know what you're going to get. So if you watch a couple of them, you'll usually get a better idea of what the different techniques are and sort of what you can do. So then make up your mind which one you think is better and which is more appropriate for what you're doing. It's a little time intensive to watch through them and, learn all that stuff, but, it's what you got to do.
I know there's a site called cosplaytutorial.com. Yeah, so I go there just to look at who has done what. Sometimes there are specific props and armors that somebody has made and they're putting on there to share. YouTube is another one. I know a lot of people have told me to practice your Google food.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just
or ask a librarian.
Yeah. I know sometimes if you see a costume that somebody has already made, if they have like a fan page on Facebook or something, you can always message them and ask them if you have any questions or whatever, and they will respond to you as best as they can without overloading you and I don't want to make this.
That's true. I found that as well, that most people who are active cosplayers in the community, it's such a helpful group. If you see someone who has just something that's amazing, you can be like, how did you do that? And they're usually very flattered and will help you. Right here in front.
Are you guys on social media?
Are you guys on social media?
I am. Unlike a lot of my friends, I do not maintain a cosplay-specific fan page, but I sort of welcome everybody to my personal Facebook. So if anybody who's here wants to add me, that is totally fine. My name is Austin Sirkin. I'm in the guide, I think.
It is in the guide.
So yeah, there are only 2 Austin Sirkins, and it will become abundantly obvious which I am.
Is it your picture of you in this costume right now?
I did. I'm actually wearing this costume, and my cover photo is a photoshopped version of the Dengar costume. The other Austin Sirkin is like a college kid from the Northwest who is like a normal guy.
And has no idea when he gets weird Facebook friend requests.
Yeah, no, it's true. That said, I do get a lot of friend requests from people who are not real, like advertising bots. So if you do want to add me and we don't have any friends in common, just drop me a line and say that you were here and that you're a real person, and I will be happy to add you.
Allegedly a real person.
Yes.
You can always add me on my personal account, Devin Chambers. I have a Facebook page, Verglass Prince, and my group page is Gamers and Nerds United. It's all on Facebook.
Good news.
Yeah, it's just, if you have any questions, just message me and I'll try my best to help you as much as possible.
So supportive. Good question. Anyone of you there in the ensemble shirt?
I guess so I've just gotten kind of recently into cosplaying and costume making. I don't know too much about the actual what counts as a costume, because I know some characters they're just wearing normal clothes kind of, so you can just buy similar clothes. I've been to thrift shops and stuff and found similar outfits. Just kind of your opinion on that, maybe how that's viewed in the community.
Is your question what makes a costume and and not just like a t-shirt and jeans. I have found that Goodwill hunting is super useful in finding, thank you, stuff for costume. We call it that, like, not Goodwill hunting, but Goodwill hunting. It's basically, you know, thrift shop, Macklemore stuff. Is really great and totally appropriate for costuming whoever you want to cosplay as. It's, I would feel, more the play part, being the character and interacting with people as such. What do you guys think?
Well, what makes a costume for me, it doesn't really matter on what you have on is, if you embody the character as best as you can, people will know who you are. And people are like, hey, I love you, love your costume. Oh, can I get a picture and stuff? It's just the way that you present yourself. That's all I can say.
Yeah, my opinion on the subject is basically that it doesn't matter. You know, just wear whatever the hell you want and just have a good time. You know, don't be so concerned about what other people think or what. I mean, you know, it's nice to have people recognize your costume, and you know, going down that path as far as like, you know, what do you need in order for your costume to be recognized by other people? That's sort of a complicated issue. You know, certain characters are very reliant on their face and their physical characteristics in order to be recognized, and you know, they have like really nondescript costumes. But other characters have very specific costumes that are easily recognizable, regardless of what the person wearing it looks like.
Or even just color schemes.
Right, that's absolutely true.
That's how you get away with steampunk Star Trek.
So, really, I actually have an article on the internet about visual cues and about sort of the idea of using a combination of visual cues to incite a specific thought or, you know, recognition in the viewer. If you message me, I'll send you a link or something like that. But you know, ultimately, there's no way that you can guarantee that somebody is going to recognize who you are. So just, you know, wear what you think looks good and just sort of be proud of it, you know?
Okay, over here.
Little late, so back to this question in the beginning, you know. When you're choosing your costume, you have criteria of what you're looking for, or you go whatever you want?
When you're picking out your costume, do you have criteria? Well, Austin goes for people with goatees.
Generally speaking, I try to stick with people that I look like, but I mean, that's just me. You know, you don't have to do that. If I'm going to do a costume that I don't look like, I try to do like an original costume or like one of a something, like, you know, like a Ghostbuster or a Jedi or something like that. That way I can just be myself. That sort of neatly sidesteps the whole like, well, you know, your hair is not the right color. You know, but you know, other than that, I try to pick intellectual properties that I like, and then try to see where I fit in within those. You know, usually I'm not the sort of person who always wants to be like my favorite character. You know, if I'm in a group, like, well, I need to be, you know, Mario. Well, I was Mario. But generally, I'm happy to play whoever I fit in as in the group. But, you know, your mileage may vary. You may find that you want to be a specific character, even if you don't look like them, and I think that's totally fine.
For me, it's just depending on how they function. It's like, I know most of the time I am drawn to villains, flat out. I will be a villain in a heartbeat. But it's just like with other characters, it's just like, oh, how are you with this and how are you with that? Sometimes I go for the person with the prop. It never fails. Most of my costumes have props. Like, I'm working on Tintin from Naruto. Nobody cosplays Tintin in the Naruto thing. Everybody hates Tintin. I love Tintin. So, I'm gonna have the one when she has the big scroll on her back. I'm in the process of making that. It's just the fact that that's the character that resembles me just a little, and just do what you do. Most of the time, it's body paint or whatever. Just like, hey, makeup. Let's go to the store and get some makeup.
We've got time for one, maybe two more.
Oh, let me just add something real quick to that question that I was thinking of for a moment. Sorry. You know, one of the reasons that I do costuming is because I like to stand out. You know, I like to look different and be sort of interesting looking. So a lot of times I'll pick characters that other people do not do for exactly that reason. Because I don't want to be like, you know, the fifth Naruto at the con, you know? You know, I would rather be like the weird villain that nobody cosplays or, you know, stuff like that. So, anyway, I don't know if that helps, but...
Okay, now we have time for one, maybe. In the back.
Yeah, my first SF cons were back in the 1970s. There were a couple world cons, and back then it was called costuming, and for years I didn't really do any SF cons at all. And now now this term cosplay, I was just wondering, do you know when it came in, you know, where it originated? Because for a little while I was confused, like I didn't even know what cosplay was, and I later found out it was just costuming.
That's why you're here.
Yeah, so it started out in Japan. Japan has this... many things do. Japan has this sort of habit of taking long terms or terms with multiple words and sort of shortening them or combining them, because Japanese is a syllabic language, so they take the first like one or two syllables of a word and then sort of put it together. So costuming was sort of not really a thing, so cosplay is, you know, costume play. But in America it was known as costuming for a long time. Probably up through, would you say, the early 2000s, maybe?
I would agree.
Yeah, about the early 2000s. And originally, cosplay was sort of specifically meant to be when you dress up in costume and do performances, like do skits and do, you know, like literally be that character. And that was sort of originally the difference between costume and cosplay. But, you know, as time went on, they just became interchangeable. And now cosplay is sort of the preferred term in the scene.
And I do have a friend who refers to himself specifically as a costumer. He's like, I'm not a cosplayer, I'm a costumer because I make all my costumes myself. And I don't know, he has problems with certain cosplayers. He's one of those people who's like, that's not steampunk. So he has a lot of feelings about that subject.
Yeah, just like you said, cosplay originated from Japan, came over when cosplay started getting mainstream, when cosplay started getting mainstream. I know at first, like I have a habit of just saying, oh, look at the cosplay, like, no, it's just a costume. Okay. Look at the cosplay over there, and it's like, but like, I have a habit of just calling all my cosplays cosplay. Like, oh, so you're wearing your costume? No, it's a cosplay, not a costume. Let's get the terms right.
And I really do think there's a difference. Like at Halloween, you dress up as whatever, but you're not playing that character. And like you said, you like to embody the whole character when you're playing. When you're dressed as Hades, you are playing Hades also. And I think that's where a lot of people make that separation. Last question. In the back, curly hair. Words of encouragement for someone who is afraid to cosplay outside their physical body type? Okay.
Well, my words to you is just do it, because you're not here to please everyone. You're here to please yourself, and whatever makes you happy at the end of the day, it's just what's gonna make you happy. Like, I don't cosplay anybody resembling me. Like Chimpo is maybe the closest one that resembles me body size, but race wise, you know, I be everybody. Like if I feel the character talk to me, then I will be the character. Just don't be afraid to be the character. Just when somebody just says something, smile, laugh. They hate that.
Yeah, I wish I had better news, but unfortunately the sad fact of the matter is that people will probably judge your friend. You know, maybe not in person, but certainly on the internet. You know, and it's really a shame, and I absolutely hate that people do that. I think it is terrible. I mean, my best advice is just do it anyway. And you know, the things that people say on the internet, or you know, even in person behind your back, they don't matter. They're not gonna come up and actually do anything to you. And honestly, in person, the people at the conventions will probably be exceptionally nice and friendly about it. You know, they will probably be very encouraging. It's only afterwards, in the safety and anonymity of the internet, that people will, you know, say nasty things. So, but you know, you can't control what people are going to say, and you just have to accept that not everything you do is going to make people happy. So
you are not pizza.
Right.
And then you cannot please everyone.
So, you know, so just do it. Tell your friend just to do it and not worry about it, and just be proud of who they are.
And it sounds like your friend is really lucky to have a friend like you, and hopefully they have a good support group, and you can encourage each other to do you.
Absolutely.
All right, awesome. So let's give a big hand for our panelists. Sneaking in here in preparation of our next panel, which I'm sure you're all very excited for. We do have books available for checkout here. We've got a cosplay cart, Christian Slade cart, general. I think that this is the transmedia gaming cart. We should have stuff all over everywhere. I believe they're setting up in the back here John Scalzi books for sale. He will be doing a signing after his talk, which will be, I believe, downstairs on the 3rd floor is where the signing will be. But right here is where our John Scalzi panel will be. So hang out. Thank you very much to Austin and Rose Frank for coming out tonight. Thank you all very much for being here. Lots of questions and on. And thank you very much. Enjoy Fandomonium.